I'm gonna do the coach one instead of everybody.
All right, we're live.
Okay. I'm waiting on it to pop up. It should pop up here in a minute.
Should be up now. I'm just chilling in
Yeah.
chat by myself.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You good? Go ahead. You can start it.
All right. What's up, NDL? A week closer to Christmas, a week closer to the end of this season. Block 4 should be opening tomorrow. And we're going to talk about some games in Block 4, obviously. Talk about what went down in the last block. Excited to get caught back up and catch everyone else up on what's going on in the G5 and the NDL. So I am one of your hosts, Coach Sammy33. Mr. Vic, how are you doing, sir?
I'm all right. I'm all right. It's getting close to holiday season. It's getting to the midway point of the NDL season. So hope everybody's okay on this Friday night.
Yeah, this is actually my favorite part of the season. We didn't talk about this pre-pod, but I am really excited coming out of conference play and then watching people start to dip their toes, or sorry, coming out of the OOC games and then dipping in the conference play. Because now people are comfortable with their teams. Now you're hopping in to play those games in conference. Got the conference goals, rivalry games in conference coming up. So now people are starting to fine tune what works with my team, what doesn't work, and how can I be competitive going forward the rest of the year. So this is my actually favorite time of the season because you start to see those conference races shape up and it'll make for a very fun finish to the season. Also would like to mention here as well. We will not be having Doc on this week. He has some other matters that he needs to attend to. So we wish you the best, sir, and we look forward to having you back next week when you have the time, sir. So it'll just be Vic and I rolling tonight.
Yes, indeed. We's a tag team tonight. No faction tonight. No faction. Just a tag team tonight. A tag team you love.
Yeah, tag team on Raw, not on SmackDown. I'm not trying to mess with the Wyatt Six, or the MFTs. No thanks.
No, thank you.
So
No, thank you.
would just like to put out a PSA. I have not booted up the game yet, but I did see, thanks to some people in chat, that there was a ratings update. So it should already be live on the game. So just a slight update. Just be aware you may need to redo your depth chart again. Not really sure why we're getting a ratings update. I don't know when they're going to stop at this point, but I mean, I guess I'll take anything that can help my team. Um, it is what it is. I thought there would be a point where they would kind of cut it off. Like we waited so long for them to update their ratings, and now they're doing it every week as the season's pretty much getting, winding down. Interesting.
I thought they would. I thought they would do an update after the awards and the Heisman was announced.
The
That's when they did it. That's when they did it last season after the awards and the Heisman was announced. But maybe they know a little bit of something because they kind of predicted the CFP rankings before time. So um, we got the update before the Heisman Trophy celebration tomorrow.
yeah,
So
maybe
we may
somebody will
have
be in
another
store.
update. We may have another update next week. Then
Yeah, someone could be in store for a very nice update. I know Mike was joking. Well, I don't think he was joking, but talking it like, man, it'd be nice if Mendoza would win so I can get that nice 99. I don't know about 99, but hey, a
I
boost
mean
is a
he
boost.
already at. I believe he already at 96. I believe so. He could get to 98, 99. Him or DK will be happy. I'll just say that. Him or DK will
Yeah,
be very happy come next week.
yeah, it could be a nice season changer for either. Well,
Indeed.
Well, let's jump into what we got here first, as we always do. Starting out with the top 25. So listing the teams that were in the top 25, and then the few teams, the next in line, so to speak, in the G5. Well, first up, Washington State. They were 17th in the coaches poll, 20th in the media. East Carolina breaking through, 20th in the coaches poll, 19th in the media, so ahead of Washington State in the media poll. Boise, 23 in the coaches poll, dropped out of the media. And then for others receiving votes, kind of looking at people that were on the radar, you got UConn at the 30 spot and Buffalo sitting at 32. So I asked you, Vic, how do you feel about the teams that were in the top 25? And were you surprised by anyone who was left out?
Wasn't surprised by anybody that was left out. No, was not surprised. I'm very okay with what we have in the top 25 as far as G5 representative. Boise may come out this next block, but Washington State and East Carolina are great representatives so far, and they're both undefeated. I feel like we're gonna have Buffalo or UConn or both in the next batch of rankings. But I like where we at so far. I like that we only have three teams in. You know, the best of the best that had the, I would say, best schedule. They worked through their schedule the best and had a, tough quality opponent. Each of the three of them. Like I said, I feel like, especially Buffalo, I feel like Buffalo is coming on strong, and they'll probably be in the next ranking.
I agree with you there. Um, I'll admit I haven't done my poll yet. I'm going to do it when we're done here. But when I was going through and kind of, you know, looking at the teams that I would like to include, Buffalo was in my list on my list. So I think they'll be in my top 25. UConn is interesting because they still have like it may not look as good now if they do end up beating NC State, but that is still a ranked opponent for when they did play. And I think that a ranked win would definitely help their cause. I mean, Dave's undefeated so far throughout the season. So if he can get that win and just keep doing what he's doing, he's got a really interesting game we're going to talk about later. But if he keeps doing what he's doing, he'll be in there in no time as well. So I do have one other question for you about the top 25. Are there any teams that we haven't mentioned that are on your radar?
We will mention him as far as the results in the next segment, but I'm going to give him a shout out right now, and that's Tuddy at Fresno State. He is 5-1. That one loss being to Oklahoma State, and that was a close loss. Well, some nefarious stuff happened. Sometimes stuff happens. Turnovers here, turnovers there, and miscues and such. And that's what happened. Couple miscues happened in that game to shake it the other way. But that was his only loss, was to Oklahoma State, which is a Power Four team. He has been dominant ever since, and he's looked like he is the class of the Mountain West so far here early in the season.
Yep, halfway point through the season for him, 5-1. He's setting himself up for a nice draft pick for next season. Then, obviously, Mountain West, he continues to do what he's doing. Chance to maybe compete for a conference championship as well. One team that I'm looking at is is interesting because their schedule may not necessarily validate it now, but the thing is, as we start to get into conference play, and people are going to lose, especially the power teams, which is the thing that is going to make the rankings really interesting going forward. Once we start to get, ACC games, SEC games, and the other big conferences playing and teams start to fall, then we have to start looking at teams that are, looking at the record and say, hey, this team in the G5 is, 6-0, for example, in this case in Western Michigan. If he continues to win and the mat continues to look good in the process, I think that this is something that I see him down the road, maybe not necessarily right now, but he's on my radar as long as he can stay undefeated. I know he doesn't play Buffalo, but he will play Chip later in the season. That'll be a rivalry game. If he can continue at this pace and some of those power teams start to fall down, he's just going to keep slotting up. And I think we'll see him in the top 25 at some point if that is the case. And also the Sun Belt. I can't even name a team specifically. I mean, if you made me choose, I mean, there's Southern Miss, there's Coastal. They're both off to good starts. I
I
believe
think you should. I think you should name Southern Miss.
uh, more bulletin board material. Why not?
Yes, yes.
But the Sun Belt has a couple of teams that I looked at and like, you've got Coastal at 4-1. James Madison is 3-1. Southern Miss is 3-1. As one team maybe starts to separate themselves from the others, I think that team also could see itself in the top 25 as well. That'll be interesting. This is the fun part of the season.
Definitely the fun part of the season. We get to look at what conferences are gonna, you know, be the best conferences, how stuff is gonna shake out. Um, Definitely the best part of the season.
Yeah. But before we talk about what's to come down the road, we can talk about what has just happened. We've got some games to look over that caught our eye in Block 3. First one that we can bring up, it would have been. I felt bad when I looked at it too. Like, man, it looked like it was a really good game, and I hate to put one of you, you hate to put one of your teammates out there like, hey, talk about your game. Sorry that you lost, but it looked like it was a lot of fun. SDSU and Oregon State in a barn burner, and SDSU pulls it out by a touchdown. They win 42-35. The key stat to me in that one was the turnover battle. No turnovers by the
Mhm.
Aztecs and three by Oregon State, and that is the magic number in real life. Video games, it's a little bit different as we know, but in real life, I believe it's a 98% chance to win if you're +3 in turnovers. That is very important. Sutton doing good on the ground, a buck 21 with a touchdown, and then Murphy, who has been putting up big numbers for the Beavers, throws for 340 and three touchdowns, but also the three interceptions. So it looks like SDSU is getting back on track to now sit at 3-2. Vic, how you feeling about that game?
Gotta love Big Z back on track as you said, 3-2. The turnover battle. Let me just say this: the turnover battle is the most important battle in every game. Yes, that sounds like coach speak. Yes, that sounds cliche. But when you truly look at it and you dive into the notes and you dive into the game logs and you dive into the stats, you see that the person, majority of the time, 90, 95%, maybe 85 sometimes, percent of the time throughout each of these seasons, especially since we've been back, whoever wins the turnover battle is gonna win the game. So if you're addicted to turnovers, like somehow I am, it's gonna cost you in a lot of games. Turnovers, protect the ball at all costs. Throw the ball away. I need to take that advice for myself too. I know that. But throw the ball away. It's okay to throw the ball away. Yeah, that man look open, but it's triple coverage. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just throw the ball away.
We're going to come back to that thought a little bit later, but I'll leave it for now because I have something to add to it. But I think it fits for a different game, and I'll explain why. Um, but I'm like two good coaches. a lot of points, so I know it had to be exciting to play and stressful, as most offensive shootouts are. But as an Aztec fan, I'm happy to see SJSU pick up a dub, and hopefully Big Z will have a nice run in Mountain West play. So next up,
That's for, that's
or
for sure.
oh yeah, yeah, I believe I gotta believe in my Aztecs, man. Gotta believe. Actually, I'll let you talk about the next one. I feel like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
would appreciate. I talk about my alma mater, you talk about yours.
Oh yeah. Double dip. Double dip. I don't know if you noticed that, but it's a double dip in the results. Louisiana Tech not only beat UTEP, they beat App State. Beat UTEP 31-21, beat App State 42-24. In the UTEP game, that was UTEP's first loss of the season. The turnover battles, I did watch that. It was a key. Now, UTEP was getting back in the game, but it was a key interception late that cost them the game. It was like right under 2 minutes or right before the 2 minute timeout. He threw UTEP threugh an interception that really sealed the deal for that win. And then in the App State game, App State does drop the 1-4. So much for that. Boy, yeah. Um, Louisiana Tech scores 35 points in the first half. Blake Baker with almost 500 yards, 458 to be exact. And the receiver Gandy had 3 touchdowns. That is a hell of a stat line right there. So, how do you feel about Louisiana Tech going forward? This is your conference, mate, by the way.
Yeah, it's a really good week for him because if I remember correctly, those are his first two wins of the season. So picking them up at the same time has to feel really good and getting it back to back. So congrats to Cleat Freak for getting on the board. Um, I will say I got to see the game against App State, and that one was like I had on my radar. I wanted to see App State in their next game after out of conference, but like okay, you struggle out of conference, you lose to Southern Miss. Can they get back on track? And this loss is going to hurt them a lot, I believe, in the long run. And we'll talk about why later. But man, Louisiana Tech was up 35 in the first half against them. They hold, I mean, the running game for App State still did what it does. The thing is, it wasn't resulting in enough points. It slowed down the game in terms of time, but LA, Louisiana Tech was scoring so fast. Like between the two games, 73 points, just putting up points and just making it very difficult for, especially getting off to a really fast start and kind of setting the tone and pace for the game. Being able to hold on, do what you need to do defensively enough to get those wins, very impressive. UTEP, I'm sure they'll bounce back. Just their first loss of the season. App State said we'll talk about that a little bit later. They're in a different situation right now, but very impressive block for Louisiana Tech and Cleat Creek.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Hopefully, he keeps it rolling. Go ahead and talk about the next game there.
All right. Well, I know he can't be happy. None of us are. The group of us are happy. I'm happy Jordan got a win because we're definitely not seeing our football team win in real life. So South Florida, someone's getting wins at. Well, this was on the road, so never mind.
Oh man, I
Um,
forgot about last night. Oh, dog.
don't bring it up because when you messaged me like,
I'm
hey,
not.
is
I'm
there a,
not.
is
I'm not,
you
man. I'm
you
not. I'm
messaged
not.
me
I'm
like,
not.
hey, how about the outline? I was pretty sure I was cursing at the TV during that time, so watching my team melt down. But South Florida did not melt down, and that was appreciated. It was a really back and forth game. The difference was the third quarter. The final score was 35-21. He picks up a road win over Houston, but the third quarter was the difference, 14-0. Brown, very efficient, 16 of 18, 255 yards, 2 touchdowns. And as an offense, efficient as well, 7 of 8 on third down. So when you got them to third down, couldn't the Cougars could not get them off the field. But the craziest thing about this game was there was no interceptions, and both quarterbacks combined to throw just 6 incompletions. You want to talk about efficiency? Doesn't really get better than that as a quarterback.
Well, Byron Brown in real life is efficient as well, especially running the ball. And Jordan has him going throwing the ball. So Byron Brown is very efficient. He may come up on the Heisman list very soon. Who knows?
Eh,
But good win, especially after his close call against Tennessee. He definitely got a P4 win there. So that's good for him. He can now roll into conference season, conference play,
There's one
and
other
see how
thing to
he
point out.
does there. He's definitely going to play spoiler in the American for sure.
He will. There's one thing I wanted to point out. So watching his past games, because I don't know how I get to watch so many games with this work schedule, but I've been able to catch a good chunk of his game, and the Brown Nimrod connection
Oh
has
yeah,
been
yeah,
lethal. But
lethal.
this game was very telling to me because the ball was spread around. So I'm not sure if it was really an emphasis on Houston's part to try to take him away, but Brown just kept finding someone open, and it wasn't always him. So going into conference play, that is a huge plus. Other guys being able to step up and make plays too. I love to see it. I can't wait to see how he does in American play.
Now this next game, you set it up earlier. Coastal 17, Coastal Carolina 17, Old Dominion 14. Uh, Coastal came back. They were down by 7, entering the fourth. But the real story is the 9 combined turnovers.
9, man,
9.
that's an EA football game for you there.
9. I mean, it was looking like Jalen Hurts on a Monday night. Um, the teams combined for only 86 rushing yards. Yeah, just let that joke. Just let the joke ride. Just let it ride. Um, on 48 attempts. So not only were the defenses getting turnovers, they were completely shutting down the run. So this was a real defensive battle. I know you love defensive battles. How did you enjoy this one?
We talk about our how should we put it, our dirty watch of the week. That one game that you know is going to be a trash game, and we're talking about in real life. So let me preface this first. I don't want anyone coming at me in the DM. Talking about real life. Me and Vic have our like we look at the slate and like, yeah, this is the dirty watch of the week because you know the
Oh yeah,
offense is going to be
sick of it.
so bad
Oh yeah,
that and you just can't turn away from. Like, there's all these better games on the watch. I'm stuck watching a terrible game because it just intrigues me so much. And most of
well,
them
I
are
was
defensive. This one, man, you want to talk about just Jameis Winston was playing quarterback for both teams in this one. It was it was rough and made worse. Neither team could run the ball. So this was really the defense
at
playing
all.
well. Both teams combined for 86 rushing yards on 48 attempts. Great run defense, great pass defense. The offenses were just trying to find a way to put up points. And kudos to Coastal. He's been off to a good start this season. He was 3-1 coming in. He was down 7 entering the fourth quarter, puts up a 10 spot. That's enough to get the win. And let's be honest, I'd much rather have an ugly W than a pretty L. Just find a way to win. Coastal does.
Unless you're Jalen Hurts. Yeah, I'm letting the jokes go. I am.
Hmm.
Uh,
I wonder if that's happened in the NDL. Like, has there ever? I've seen before a quarterback force a fumble. I'm not in the NEL game. I'm not sure if they,
Two turnovers or what, three turnovers on one play or whatever.
yeah, do an interception, recovered a fumble, and then
I don't
fumbled it back. Like it's just comical.
I don't think they fumbled it back, but I'm pretty sure I've seen it where an interception has happened and then they fumbled and got the ball back.
Man, you want to talk about a momentum killer? You're hyped about getting an interception. Could you imagine on this year's game getting an interception and then fumbling it right back to the offense? Like, bro, now they get to reset the downs. This is a momentum killer,
You might as well
morale
put the
killer.
controller down immediately. It is over if you're doing that in this game. It is over. The next game we have is good old Chip and the Fighting Chips, 42-32 over Akron. Um, CMU controlled the first half, but did struggle in the second half. They got some full quarter points and pulled away. Akron only had 7 rush yards. Damn. and, and Cronis, and the running back for CMU, had 3 touchdowns. 7 yards. We gonna start right. We gonna pinpoint right there. Giving up only 7 yards is an achievement, but somehow you still gave up 32 points.
Oh, 7 rush yards.
Yeah, 7 rush yards. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Giving up 7 rush yards is an achievement, and he probably got a PlayStation or Xbox achievement for that. But giving up 32 points, that is when you have when you're so dominant on one part of defense, but you're still giving up points. I know Chip had to be frustrated over that.
100% because I would assume that going into a game, you're looking at trying to take something away. And the easiest way, in my opinion, to play defense is say, hey, I want to take away the run or take away the pass and force you, or uh, I guess the easier way to say, I would like to take away the run because then I can solely focus on trying to stop the pass. I don't have to worry about play action. I don't have to worry about my blitzes are not trying to fill gaps to stop the run. It's just to get to the quarterback. And when you have an offense that has to pass, it has to be frustrating when you're just keyed in on that and still having trouble stopping them. But enough to get the win. And there's probably going to be a lot of that going on in the MAC with the lack of defense, just talent wise on the rosters. It's going to be a lot of high scoring games. You just got to find a way to win. Chip gets his first conference win of the season. Maybe not in the fashion that he would like. I feel disappointed because I did get to watch this game, but I unfortunately couldn't have the volume on, so I'm pretty sure I missed a good show. But it was an entertaining game to watch.
Very, very entertaining game. I caught the first half. Very entertaining game. I don't know if you saw the live chat. I have to, since we're talking about scores, I have to update on the score. The Apple Cup has just concluded, and Washington did beat Washington State 56-42.
Tim's going to have his players running gassers. Well, yeah, he's going to have his defense running gassers, not the offense. I was lurking, catching some of it, man. Oh, those missed tackles hurt. They hurt a lot.
Yeah, mishap, man. Who you telling? Missed tackles will deflate the whole team, and it's not like those missed tackles will happen on one or two. It seems like it happens all game long. Sometimes.
Yeah, had a rough. And then lastly, we'll look at a week 6 game. UTSA pulling off a win against Temple 42-35. That gives Temple their first loss of the season. And a big reason why Temple lost that game, they were up 14 nothing going into the first quarter. and they were down 14 at halftime, 28-0 in the second quarter for UTSA.
Oh,
Davin
it got
Martin,
worse. Oh, it got a little worse. I'll explain, but it got a little worse. Go ahead.
yeah, well, uh, McQuinn, 103-yard kick return for UTSA, and then Simon, one of the like this is a classic EA stat line for a quarterback, 30 of 36, 378 yards, five touchdowns, but six incompletions, three of them interceptions. Davin Martin
I
had
love it.
two of those. Those were his first two interceptions defensively on the year. And I'm going to guess, since you saw the game, that those interceptions probably played a big role in the comeback.
Yes. No. Actually, no. Actually,
Uh,
those interceptions that Simon threw were in that second quarter.
mm,
So what happened was he was down 28-14, and then he went down even more, 35-14, and then slowly crept back. And with a minute plus to go, he gets the ball. He's down seven, driving with efficiency, making sure the clock is running, not stepping out of bounds. Everything you need to do. Scores, leaves about, I want to say 25 seconds left.
oh no,
Scores.
don't
Ice in the
don't tell me
veins,
the kick return.
35-35. That's why I was quiet when you said the kick return.
Mm.
Because the kick return was the most important part of this whole game. He battled back. Like I said, the interceptions were in the first half, were in that second quarter where he gave up the 28 points. I want to say that all three interceptions were in the second quarter, to be honest. But I know two of them were for sure. He battled all the way back. It's 35-35. He kicks the ball off, and McQuinn takes it to the house. And I do not want to know what that feeling is like. I really don't. I really don't want to know what that feeling is gonna be like.
Well, there's only
We
one
all
other
know what.
person that we can ask, and I don't want to ask in fear of him joining my conference next season wherever I go and getting 35. But I can't imagine it feels
And
good to
I
give
know that's
that up.
devastating. And I know that's devastating. I don't. I'm not even gonna bring that up. We know the famous instance where that happened, but it's just like you battled all. You came back down from 21, walked him down to just see it all explode in one play. Just blow up in your face in one play.
You know what's really interesting about that? We had a patch what before Block 6 last season. And I remember reading it because I was excited for it, not knowing that I was going to give up a kick and a punt return to Virginia Tech like 24 hours later. But I am a big believer in special teams being a big factor in the game because of field position. Not always necessarily for the touchdowns, but just field position. Um, them tuning the blocking is really like we already have offenses that feel like superheroes, the Avengers going out there on the field in most of our games, and now special teams can have that impact too. It just goes to show offense and defense matter so much, and I know it's the focal point in every game that we go into. We joke a lot last season about people missing kicks from the hash all the time, but special teams have had so many impacts on games. The return game, momentum, touchdowns. You hate to take an L like that, but man, it does. It really does matter. It is a three-phase game, and I feel this video game is reminding us about that third phase because we don't see that a lot, or definitely not as frequently as we do in actual college football and NFL games.
It's like the biggest momentum change in the game. It really is. I've seen so many games where the momentum changes. That's the second one where we've seen it be a game winning type of situation. But we've seen that happen so many times where you think you got momentum, boom, you kick it off, kick return. Other team has momentum for the rest of the game. It's
Yeah,
the biggest momentum swing that we have in the game.
very demoralizing, depending on what side of it you're on. Um, yeah. So looking at the G5 as a whole, just big storylines to kind of talk about. The one that I wanted to bring up because I thought it was cool. We have a lot of people that have played all their games to this point in the season, but wanted to give a look into Western Michigan, the first team in the G5 to reach 6 wins. Others will, of course, but they sit at the halfway mark at a perfect 6-0. And it's been a solid season so far. No, Louisiana Tech just had a big block with 2 wins. Western Michigan had a win against them to open the season. They had the real fun defensive game against Hawaii last block. And then in this block, they have wins against UMass. UMass has been a very game team so far. Don't sleep on Ant Rains. And a win against Jacksonville State as well. So they're sitting at 6-0. They're going to turn their attention to conference play, like I mentioned earlier. A rivalry game at Central Michigan coming up soon. That'll be in week 10. Have you been impressed by Western Michigan's start so far this season? What are you thinking about their future going
I
forward?
have. I have. I have been impressed. The thing that has impressed me about it, you kind of just went over it. He's been able to play any type of game. Like he's been able to show very early that he can play a defensive game. He can play a comeback, like where he has to come back. He can play a shootout, and he can blow you out. He can play any type of game so far with this team. Now I know it's a lot of his schedule, half of his schedule remaining, but so far in the first half, he's definitely impressed me. What about you?
That's been interesting to watch because when you get new coaches in the league, it's interesting to look at them because I don't know what to expect from you. I don't know your play style. You're in a conference with some other new coaches too, so like I don't have any information about you. So it's trying to kind of figure out what they are or what the coach is in terms of like, hey, I want to be a Smitty and we're just going to run the ball and that's our MO, or IROC running the ball, or we're going to be a Jeff Daddy and CG and just air out the ball. Like trying to figure out what is this coach all about. And you hit the nail on the head about them being very versatile. 19th in points, defense. I mean, they've had some games where it's been interesting to watch. Like defense just kind of like falls off for a bit, but it feels like whenever the stop needs to happen, a first down needs to be gotten by the offense, they find a way to make it happen. That's why they're 6-0, efficient enough running the ball, efficient enough passing the ball, just finding a way to win. And that is something that is hard to do in this game. Just kind of sometimes having to go off script and just say, hey, I would like to play like this, but this isn't how this game is going. So I'm going to have to change mid course and try to find a different way to win this game. And that's what they've done so far. Will they do that going forward? We'll have to see. But a very impressive start to the season. 6-0 is 6-0.
Definitely, definitely 6-0 and 6-0. Another storyline from Block Two: the rules. a lot of discussion over rules, over shoe clock, and that was a discussion today. I don't know why that was a discussion, but that was a discussion today. You know, if you're a kid of the 90s and you're listening to this pod, the NBA taught us very well. They told us reading is fundamental.
I remember those
Remember that.
commercials.
Remember that. Reading is fundamental. Just remember that while you talk about the rules and you talk about this. What about this? What about that? Reading is fundamental. Remember that.
Like just bottom line, we don't need to be like more. There's no reason to not be. There's no reason that all of us shouldn't be able to be held accountable for following the rules. We signed up for this league. We all have to acknowledge, like we get tagged at the very beginning of the season with any changes that were made to the rules. Were updated if any rules do change. It's right there for all of us to read. You even have Beer Cop making a fourth down graphic, so you have a cheat sheet essentially of when and where it's good, you're okay without using your freebie to go for it on fourth down. Like guys, you just gotta you just gotta know them. And if you make a mistake, because none of us are perfect, right? We all make mistakes. Communicate.
Some more
Hey,
than others.
I made a mistake. I shouldn't have did this. It broke this rule. It caused me to convert on third down. I'm just gonna punt the ball because you know what? Had I not broke the rule, it would have been an incompletion. Not saying me, but just hey, I accidentally threw the ball outside the numbers. Just instinct, cool. Punt the ball back. You get the ball. It's as if you didn't get the first down. Cool. Like it doesn't even have to go to the red names in order to find the solution. Communicate with your opponent, work something out, and then just be aware, hey, like I messed up here. Should be in the back of your head not to have that happen again. Maybe reread that section just so you have the clarity. We all have to abide by them. It makes things so much easier if you just follow. Like we really don't want to have arguments in live chat about someone breaking a rule. Just follow them. It's not
I
that
swear
hard.
to God, I swear to God, we have another argument about some rules. I'm crashing out. I swear to God,
uh,
because if you don't read the rules, I'm trying so hard not to cuss, so hard. Just read. Please read. Don't pull a LeBron and read the first page. Don't do that. Just read the rules. That's all. Don't pull a Chet Holmgren and say I ain't never read a book before. Don't do that. Just read the rules. That's all you gotta do.
yeah, we can skip the last one. I don't even want to talk about it now. Talking about the rules, so yeah, we could just go into block four games. Just follow the rules, guys. I know
Just follow the
it's
rules.
not a league wide issue anyway. It's just here and there mistakes do happen, but
Indeed.
just follow
And
the
we know
rules.
that. And we know that. We know mistakes do happen. And people own up to those mistakes. And people do it in real time. I know I believe it was Old Miss and LSU. I know it's a power four matchup, but uh I think South Georgia Cracker uh violated one of the rules and then he immediately discussed it out in the chat and then he punted the next play. So he self disciplined himself in real time. So, stuff happens. As long as we able to correct it and read, then it's all good.
I agree. Well, we could
So,
talk about
so
block four because we have some interesting games to talk about. The first one that we can look at, Conference USA, UTEP at Liberty. So Liberty, speaking of well, maybe not necessarily rules, but I guess the other thing that can go in with rules is the other R word, respect. We have a new Liberty coach because of the lack thereof. And so far, been pretty good. It's 2-0 with them. UTEP coming off of their first loss of the season. Defense definitely would like to bounce back. Giving up 28 points in the first quarter is not how you want to start a game. And UTEP, if they were to lose this game, they would have their second conference loss, and that puts them behind the eight ball in the race for one of those coveted CC spots. Big game. How do you see this one playing out, sir?
Definitely want to avoid the second conference loss as long as possible in the CUSA because there's not that many of you guys in there. Like it's I mean it's a good amount of teams, but you never know with that conference. So you may look up and it's they're gone. That coach is gone. So um I think UTEP is gonna bounce back. I got faith in him. I roll with him from the beginning. I think he's gonna get that defense together. He got to cut on. He got to cut down on those turnovers, especially those picks. He'll throw picks over the middle. So maybe if he adjusted that and kind of throw to the outside of the numbers, maybe, or have like different route concepts over the middle, because most of his interceptions that I saw are in the middle of the field. So if he can adjust that on offense and pick it up a little bit on defense, but I believe he's going to get the victory over Liberty. What about you?
The interesting thing about this is I have not got to see Liberty play either of their games. So being 2-0, I don't have anything to go off of with them. And there's that question factor when you're playing someone new because I can't just go, for example, just as I'm looking at the sheet, UConn. Like they're 3-0, but we've seen UConn play the last couple of seasons, so you have an understanding of what Dave is trying to do on offense and
Oh
defensively.
yeah.
So it's the unknown that can be very scary. But the one thing I do know for sure that UTEP has to do on this game, and I think they will do, is get off to a faster start. Being down 28-7 is definitely no fun, and it's an uphill battle, and it's going to lead you, you're more prone to making mistakes because you're going to press a little bit more. So they've got to get off to a faster start on both sides of the ball. This being on the road, I think it'll force you. No, I know there's not huge HFA and G5 land, but just it's a road game.
Mm.
Maybe some of those 50-50 plays will go to the home team, so you need to be a little bit more locked in. I think UTEP is going to bounce back and get a win here.
All right. The next game we have is Georgia Southern, and Southern Miss is a part of the overall NDL games of the week. Both teams are 3-1. Southern Miss's offense is averaging over 41 points a game, but they're going to go against a stout Georgia Southern defense who's only giving up 24 points a game. Who do you see? What are the key points to this game, and who do you have winning?
I think the key is would be that matchup right there, the offense against the defense. Now, granted, on the flip side, it's an interesting one too because Southern Miss's defense has given up a lot of points, but Georgia Southern offense isn't scoring a ton of points either. So pick whichever matchup you want, but I'm going to focus on the Southern Miss's offense because to me, that's more of a pace thing. I look at it like basketball. A team like Phoenix against a team like, say, Detroit back with no Larry Brown and Rashid Rip Chauncey.
Uh, Bill, yeah, Rasheed, Rip, and Ben. Yeah, I got you.
Like you want to play a slower pace game and slow the game down and make it ugly versus
Mm.
Southern Miss is like, hey, we're trying to put up points and just blow you out the gym. So to me, that matchup is going to be the most important because either Southern Miss is going to put up points and force Georgia Southern to play a fast-paced game, which I'm not fully sure I'm like confident in them being able to do that and win, or Georgia Southern is going to either create turnovers or run the ball well enough to slow the game down and limit possession. Either way, I trust Southern Miss's offense to make things happen, and I have them winning this game at home.
Oh, you know I'm not going against Southern Miss. We are not creating bulletin board material today. I'm going with Southern Miss, and I think the key is going to be the run game. And when you have a matchup like offense, defense like that, um, it's best to set the tone. And the fact that Southern Miss is at home, setting the tone is the run game. So the run game needs to get off to a fast start. That way you can mix in the high power passing plays and score the points you need to go ahead and get the victory. So I got Southern Miss in this matchup.
All right. Next matchup we've got UMass hosting Kent State. Now, Kent State did get a loss. They did drop one to Buffalo, but they are still looking very solid so far this season at 3-1. UMass is 2-2 on the season, so they're at 500, and they one of their losses was just a 3-point loss to Temple, who was previously undefeated. So both teams are 0-1 in MAC play. That second conference loss, as you mentioned earlier, with the ridiculous super conferences that we have now, or well, I guess in the G5 bigger conferences, tiebreakers can be very ugly. So you want to avoid that second loss as long as possible. Who do you see getting their first win in MAC play?
I see Ubass getting the win. He's very talented. I've been watching his game since the Cup. He's adjusted some stuff, and he's adjusted some stuff for the better. So I like his. Anytime you can get production from UMass, I think you are a better than average player for sure. If you can get production out of UMass of all teams, I think you're gonna go pretty far. So I believe he's gonna get the win here against Kent State. Um, with him, he does pass it. He does pass it a lot. So he needs to get that passing game going and win the turnover battle. I'm gonna keep saying the turnover battle. Definitely win the turnover battle because that is what happened against Temple. The turnovers were not in his favor. So definitely win the turnover battle. And I feel like he can against Kent State. What about you?
I am interested in this game a lot because 6 Feet is quietly putting together a good season. I mean, the loss to Buffalo was rough, but Andy has got Andy's running back at Buffalo is really good, but his offense is tough to slow down. So I'm going to throw that one out the window. Make 2 games of holding opponents under 25 points. I'm really interested to see how he looks against UMass because Ant Reigns is a pretty solid offense. The question, as you said, will be turnovers. Turnovers forced. Kent State's in the top 25% of the league. Can they force them against this offense? I honestly think that he does. And I see Kent State. I think it's going to be a low scoring game and it's going to be back and forth. But I think Kent State will come up with a big stop late in the game for a one-score win on the road. I'm really looking forward to seeing this game. So yes, please pre-schedule this because I really would like to see this. This is the one that I'd say probably top two for me in games that I saw for Block 4.
This may be one of them too. The next one, we
It
got
is.
UConn at Virginia Tech. We got UConn looking to stay undefeated. Both coaches a vet, and we're looking to see what Virginia Tech's defense is gonna look like versus UConn's run game. That is the key to the game right there. UConn's run game. I've seen this For up close and personal, he whooped my ass with the run game in the cup. His run game is dynamic. He used two different backs. I love that setup, by the way. I love using two running backs. A lot of people don't use the two running back system, but I'm starting to see, especially this season, I'm starting to see people use the two back method. I love the two back method. I feel like the two back method gets your run game going no matter what because especially if you have two different types of runners, you can either have the bruiser or the contact seeker, or you can have the playmaker or the receiver type running back to get that offense going in any type of way possible. But Virginia Tech's defense can be stout at times. They have given up points. They've definitely given up points this season. But I feel like UConn is gonna pull away with the victory. I feel like that run game is too strong for good old brother Page.
This is the one that I was most excited about, so you are right. Because it's
I know.
not just the defense for VT, it's that he plays very good against the run as a user. So it's the perfect
Mhm.
matchup of stick skills because like I played him last season. I've got to watch him play. He's got good instincts in the run game. He doesn't seem to get stiff armed as much, so that probably will be a good thing in his favor. Like he's got good discipline playing against the run, and he can play against the pass as well. So who is going to win in the battle of the stick skills? Is it going to be Dave with his running backs or Chase with his linebacker? And then there's some other things to look at in this too. We talk about, Virginia Tech. If you're someone older, I'm sure you've heard the term beamer ball before. Special teams. Does that have an impact in the game? Can Virginia Tech bust a big return, whether it be for points or just for field position? And then UConn's passing attack too. Will the play action be effective? Or how will the offense look as a whole on third if they are stuck in third and long situations on the road? This is going to be at Virginia Tech, so the HFA could play into this if the run game is slowed down. Like Dave is a solid passer, but it's a little bit different when you're playing on the road in a hostile environment. I think this is going to be one of those games that comes down to the last possession. I think it'll be tied. Whoever's got the ball last is going to win. This is a really tough one for me. I've got Dave winning by a field goal, walk-off field goal on the road. UConn sneaking and eking one out by three.
Oh,
Now,
oh,
I
I
hope I'm
like that.
right because I had faith in him against Steam last season. That didn't go well. So we're going to roll the dice and try again. I believe in you, UConn. I believe in you.
Okay, okay. I like that. I like that. I like that. I like that.
Oh,
Let's see. We have. Oh, you go ahead. You go ahead.
oh, this is an interesting one here. The next game, we're going to head out to the American. We've got Temple, who is 3-0 at home, hosting Charlotte, who is 3-0 on the road. Both teams have one loss, but they are perfect in, this upcoming scenario. So you're facing each team, their best version of the team. Temple does have a loss in conference play, as we mentioned before. The loss to UTSA gives them their first loss in American. So a loss here would drop them to 0-2 in conference play. They obviously would need to avoid that as long as they can. It should be a fun matchup as both teams have looked solid so far this season. Who do you got in this one, Vic?
I originally pitched this in the media chat for one of the games of the week, and I'm glad it made it on here. I'm